louder.
What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I actually already ran out to the shop real quick. I had to grab the spare ECU, my laptop, and the little jump box, plus a new plate for my trailer, because I guess my plate for my trailer was like expired over a year, like almost over like 2 years or something. They made me just buy a new tag because I guess they thought I sold it or something like that. So that was kind of expensive and kind of a bummer. We did that last week or whatever, but good thing we got the GTR, made some quick time grabbing all that stuff. That's the one thing that kind of sucks with the shop being a little bit further away, is like if you forget something, it's just not as close as it used to be anymore. So basically we got to play musical trailers today. You got to disconnect my truck from this trailer, the little flatbed thing, and then hook it up to the enclosed trailer. We're gonna move the 6.4. We're supposed to be heading over to my brother's house right now that the sun has dried out all the rain. It shouldn't be as muddy over there, and we're gonna go get the S14 because the slush event is this weekend, which is like a drift, basically a big drift event and big automotive party. So I'm gonna go hang out there. I need my S14. We're gonna try to get the Corvette done. That didn't end up work out, but I'm gonna move some trailers. I'm gonna go pick up the S14. Boys, we're all hooked up. Go get the S14. Boys, made it over to my brother's house. So if you guys didn't know, this was my grandpa's truck. He basically restored it in the late 90s, and then my brother had it as his first car, or technically, or truck. He ended up selling it. We didn't know where it went for like almost 10 years, and then he actually ended up getting it back last year, which was crazy. And then about a month and a half later, grandpa actually passed away. So it's kind of cool to have it back. So it's really cool to come over here and see that it's, you know, we kind of got it back because, you know, he had so much time and, you know, money, I guess, in that thing, and we rode in it all the time when we were young. So it's crazy to see it over here. But my cars are over here. We got the 2JZ Mustang. You guys haven't seen this thing in forever. I've just been over here robbing parts off it. We stole the jumper harness in it for the IS300, which I have a whole other harness that I'd like to put on this thing, but I don't know if the 2JZ is the right engine for this chassis. I don't know, maybe I need to change up the turbo setup or something like that, because right now it's just that turbo is just a little bit too big. The gear ratios in this chassis are like a little bit wrong for the transmission, so they're kind of tall. I think I need to switch to like a 411. If I switch to like a 411, it would probably be a lot better. Hold on. Man, I want to bring this thing back out. It's just, everything happened with the shop, and like, I was just frazzled, and then I bought a house with a shop, and then like we were gonna do some stuff over at my brother's house, and then just everything just got up in the air because of like the whole shop situation. So we have the compound turbo V8 Ranger. If you guys haven't seen this, we basically put 2 turbos on this thing. So we have a small turbo and then a big turbo kind of hanging out up there. I almost wonder if I should just take one of these turbos off and bring it with us, and then potentially put it on the 3UZ in the S14. So the S14 has been over here for a couple months. Same thing with this little Civic hatchback. I don't think I actually told you guys about this thing. I think this is gonna be a little bit of a build here in the channel here soon, but we have all my screen printing stuff over here as well, which I think we're gonna basically just gonna try to sell it. I don't have time and energy to like screen print our own t-shirts. It's just a lot of effort. We don't have the manpower to do it. The rainy day Supra, this thing has been over here for a while as well. It's on the shelf, it's on the rainy day shelf. We might be pulling this thing out here soon, maybe do some burnouts at James's free car event, which is June 11th, Pueblo Motorsports Park. But for right now, I didn't realize, but there's a lot of stuff in here. I gotta move to get the S14 out of here. I also need to put in the ECU. Basically just start this thing up, fire it up, and drive it out. All right, so we got the ECU all plugged in now. Let's see if I remember the sequence. Fuel pump sounds good. Uh-oh. All right, so we got the jump pack on it. All right, we're good. Fired right up. Good old Toyota power. 4JZ, the 3UZ JZ. Just needs a turbo. First time this thing's seen the daylight in a long time. Got a couple bruises, but man, I think this thing's been actually painted for a little over 5 years. So it's not too bad. I haven't really repainted anything or did anything crazy. So. doesn't it? If you guys don't remember the S14, did basically a 1-week engine swap right before Grid Life last year, and we installed this Toyota or Lexus 3UZ V8, which is a 4.3 liter. It has dual VVTI, or 2 versions of it has VVTI on both banks, I guess. So it's kind of like a mini Coyote. It's got dual overhead cam. It's all aluminum. It's 4.3. It revs high. They love turbos. This thing is on an ECU Master standalone. Pretty much did this whole swap in like 5 days. It's really underpowered being NA. So the headers are kind of, man, I have some new headers for it, but man, I feel like it's just missing something. Part of me feels like it's missing, it's missing the 2JZ. This is the original 2JZ that I actually took out of the S14 and put it in the S550 Mustang before we did Drift Week 2, or no, that was actually the first Drift Week ever, is the one that we did with this. So this is the OG Drift Week car. We had a trailer on this thing. We literally drove this thing almost 4,000 miles with the 2J in the Mustang with an angle kit, and man, it was a great time. Maybe we should just take off that turbo and we'll just take that to the shop today and we'll just put that on the UZ. I'm really tempted to almost do that. We have this, which is like one of those GT45 units, which I'm not really a big fan of. And then we have this, which is like a 64, 66 knockoff, but I'd rather just put like a nice Garrett on it. That is a 3582, and that would almost be perfect. Part of me just wants to like take it off real quick and just bring it with us. Since, obviously this car isn't really running right now. We took the drive shaft out of it to actually put in the S14. So this car has not moved under its own power in over a year. We stole the ECU out of it. Stole everything out of it. One of the things I really wanted to do was put a Godzilla in it. A 7.3 Godzilla with a manual transmission, do some burnout stuff, some drag race stuff, and then some like Drift Week stuff with some big old freaking twin turbos under it. So, but then what do we do with the JZ? Do we put the JZ back in the S14? Do we just turbo the 3UZ? I would really like to turbo the 3UZ. Now, if anybody's interested in a whole screen printing setup, we have a bunch of screen printing stuff. So we got some things to do. I gotta get to the shop. S14's first time in the shop. It looks great in here. It just looks like it was meant to be. S14, the headers are a little bit of a mess. I do not like it. You can see we basically ran the stock header up front and then like used some wastegate tubing to like go around the front of the engine and then towards the back, just because of the steering shaft is just right in the way. It's just terribly in the way. The headers just went right into it. So now there's actually some stuff in the bed of my truck. Will you grab it? There's a box. There's a box in the bed of my truck. So the other concern is that when we first compression test this engine before we actually put it in the car, it was like low compression on like 1 or 2. I think it was only 1. So
I think it was one of the front or rear. So.
Yeah, it was one of, I think it was maybe this side or maybe it was the other side. I would like to do a compression test. We do need to wrap the harness, but yeah, we basically made this harness, and when was that? That was like a day. One day.
It was like a 3-day swap or something.
It was ridiculous how fast we actually made all of this stuff work, but you can see we got a coil radiator in here. I took this thing to a drift event at IMI, which was a little bit smaller of a track, and it actually did really good in second gear. The event is gonna be at Pikes Peak International Raceway, which is kind of a faster, like 3rd gear sweeper. And this thing, it just will not hold 3rd gear. Has a really heavy flywheel in it right now, and it just like, so it needs either nitrous or it needs some boost. Maybe I should have just pulled that turbo off of the other one. But I mean, I do have some headers. We could flip those things around and then just go, come right up over here, do a little hood exit unit. I mean, honestly, this is such a cool swap. Like nobody really does a 3UZ. And since this thing is already on an ECU Master, the only issue would be his injectors, is if we had 8 injectors. I might have 8 2200s that we could put in it and then just douse some E85 in here, but that would be like a 2-day turbo kit, that's not unlikely, but I'd like it to kind of be nice. We could probably make something work if we decided, but I think I want to do a compression test and kind of just see how this thing is. Wish we were able to get the vet done, because man, this thing's like 600 horsepower, like all you do is you could use like your pinky to drift with on the throttle. Thing absolutely rips. Man, the S14 just drives so good. It's crazy how similar these cars drive, but that one just has so much grip.
Turbo manifolds?
Turbo manifolds. You like those?
Mm-hmm.
Is that exactly what you wanted to see? Not too bad, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's better than
making them.
It's better than what's in there. The issue is now will that fit around the steering shaft, which I completely don't think
so
it's
it
gonna.
goes either front.
If we do it forward facing like this, then all we do is we just cut off them flanges, we weld some tubing together.
Hood turbo. Right out that. We'll get rid of that, and then we'll just plow a turbo right out of it.
I would say the turbo would have to go like right here, and then we do like a little hood exit exhaust type deal.
Let's just twin turbo it and just turbo over there, turbo over here.
I don't think it would like twins. I think it would like a single. Should we turbo it? I mean,
Well, why? Well, obviously you had plans to because you had to bought these. Not.
well, those aren't technically turbo manifolds. Those are just headers.
You're not gonna put headers in this thing unless you turbo it.
Well, you put headers on it to just get headers on it. Or so the plan was, because we were gonna take this thing on Drift Week, remember? And then like a week before Drift Week, I ordered those headers, and I was like, oh, we don't have time to do any of that because we're moving shops and we don't have a shop to work on anything with, and this thing doesn't make enough power. One of these headers will work fine, but the other one won't. Or if we just cut it off and then we just make
turbo headers. So this is basically the driver's side.
I think so, yeah. Do you think that would clear the steering shaft, or probably
No.
Probably big time not.
Big time, absolutely not. There's the steering shaft isn't like to one side of the, like close to the block or close to the frame rail. It's like dead center of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you gotta come forward is all we're gonna have to do.
Remember, there's that little Y pipe thing, turbo flange. It
Like go around it.
No, it takes like two turbo, two and a halves. I mean, we have a turbo we could mock it up with tonight, and then we have an intercooler for it already.
And you'll just tune it.
Yeah. I mean, all I really have to do is take some timing out, and then I guess the biggest hurdle would be the injectors. Also stock rods, so we wouldn't be able to make a lot of boost.
You don't want to push more than like 8 pounds probably.
So we got some things to figure out, but maybe we'll get them figured out. Yeah. All right, so this bank has pretty much been 145, 145, 145. Can you hold this?
Good.
Huh?
145.
I did, however, just find out some cool stuff. So I think when we were working on the Rangers, Deechworks sent out a set of 8,000 cc injectors that I was supposed to put in the Ranger, and then I ended up.
Set of 1,000 cc injectors.
Yeah.
And there's 8 of them, not 8,000 cc injectors, because that'll be misinterpreted.
So there's quantity of 8,000 cc injectors that they sent out that I could potentially fit in here, but I don't know if, obviously we'd have to figure out something to make them work. But we might be able to make something work.
Go ahead.
So that last one was 150. If we're gonna have an issue, I think it's gonna be with this cylinder. I mean, that is good that it has good compression, because it feels like it doesn't have good compression.
Yeah.
Good. So we got, I mean, that's actually a good thing, because I thought that when we initially compression tested this engine, when it was on the ground straight from the junkyard, which it obviously hadn't ran in a while, one of the cylinders was like 80 or 60 or something. It wasn't good, and then we were like, okay, it'll probably come back once it starts running, which obviously it did, and we kind of thought it did, but this thing's always, it's never ran like 100% like smooth, probably because of the way the exhaust is. It probably just doesn't sound like correct. I mean, that is a terrible exhaust setup.
We just like were in a hurry, and that's all we had, and we had to figure out something.
And we were like, that was the goal, was like
we
grid
didn't
life.
have time to order anything. We didn't have parts. We didn't have, it was
we
like,
made it.
we have to have
work.
this thing done tomorrow, so that's what we did.
If we have two 2.5 inch V bands and we have some 2.5 inch tubing, we can make.
You know, to cut those off and put a V band on them.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the flanges for that anyhow.
Yeah.
And V bands for turbos, they just love them.
Yeah.
I mean, we could make a quick little. I don't know. I think like the turbo, like right here.
So basically the same wraparound setup.
Yeah, just like have the other one come forward and then just stick it up.
This manifold here has to come forward.
And this manifold is backwards, but we'll use those new manifolds.
And bring them both forward?
Yeah, both of them
And
forward.
then where are we going to go with exhaust?
Out the hood.
Okay, I like it.
Honda boys. We got some Honda boys hard in here. So hood exit exhaust, the freaking turbo unit, and we'll just go. We found some piping, some exhaust tubing over there, and then now this is a Garrett. This is a 3582. Great unit, right?
Yeah, nice turbo.
Nice unit. It's just sitting over here right now. So this one, I forget what, I think this was on my Civic for a while, and then we did some other things with it. But anyhow, we have this little V. Here, let's show that little exhaust. We have this little Y. So this is dual, like 2.5 to a divided T4. This is a T3 housing. I have a T4 housing on the 2GZ Mustang right now. So that would be the turbo that we'd probably rob the turbo, the blow-off valve, and the wastegate off of that whole setup, and basically bring it over here and try to get it working on this setup right here.
We're just trying to figure out where to place it, basically, is how obviously we're going to have to put those manifolds on, come forward with both of them, pipe up to this, and try to figure out where this will sit, where we can get lines to it and have it out of the way of everything.
Well, because the other, like, if this thing was a rear mount radiator, this thing would be so easy. We would just put
right in the middle.
Right there in the middle, just wide the exhaust. We'd have it nice and low. But right now the issue is, okay, do we keep a hood? Do we get rid of the hood? On this side of the engine, we have the power steering pump and the alternator both right here. And then that exhaust manifold actually kind of kicks up.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have to almost chop that off right there.
Put a V-bend on it.
Put like a 90-degree coming down and then back up to try to do that. So it's like, do we put the turbo over here? Where do we run the exhaust? We got a lot of things to figure out.
It's just
especially if we're gonna try and turbo this thing before the event. Just the issue is it's all 100% stock engine. And also like, we're kind of at that stage where we're rushing it. You know, we rushed this engine swap.
Stage of rushing it. The event's on Saturday. It's Thursday night at 6:30. Time to go home, pretty much, and
so we basically have to turbo this thing in a day tomorrow. And I mean, we could pull out the MIG and some fence post and like we could get it done. Like
we're just not gonna like
the issue is are we gonna be happy with it? And that's where the dilemma lies is, okay, yeah, we could turbo it for the event. We could stick the turbo up here, not run a hood exit exhaust, and we'll just be chilling.
Yeah.
You know? Or do we like take some time and stay up like for 3 days straight and just get this thing done? Let me know what you guys think. So as of right now, I'm gonna head home and have some dinner with the family. We're gonna mull this over. I'm gonna take some tools home so I can take the turbo manifold and stuff off of the 2JZ Mustang and steal basically that turbo and that whole setup off of it if this is kind of a thing. Well, let me know what you guys think. Should we turbo the 3UZ S550? Not S14. S14. So also we put those Deechworks injectors in there. So we have 8,000 cc injectors. We already have a fuel pump in it. Basically, all we'd have to do is splash some E85 in this thing.
Tune it.
Put
There's a lot to do.
Yank all the timing out of it, and we'll just send this thing.
Like what we would do in a day is something that somebody would do like over the course of a month in their garage, probably.
But also maybe like a good fabricator would be like a day. They'd spend a day on it.
There's a lot more than just the fabrication. There's the exhaust, the intercooler piping. There's the injectors. There's the wiring for the injectors. There's the tuning. There's the get the fuel out of this tank. Tune it on full 85 or mix it, whatever you want to do. There's a lot that goes into it. There's
a lot of things. Blow off valve, wastegate, exhaust, like there's a lot. Tons of things, but we've done crazier things. We're gonna figure it out. Appreciate you guys watching. See you tomorrow.